welcome back. We are Pull on the Call podcast. My name is Mændy Mac.
And I'm Cris Rivers.
And today we are super excited to be here with pole coach and performer Andrew.
Yes.
Hello,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
for
much,
having
Andrew.
me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes.
Yes, we're so good to have you. And on Instagram, Fierce Queen Things.
Fierce Queen Tings, yes, that's my proper introduction. Yes, Fierce Queen Tings in the house. So
Love
anyone tuning
it.
in, they're like, "Oh, shit's about to get ratchet." Okay.
Too funny. I love it.
Yes.
They know what they're getting themselves into.
So funny. As pole dancers, we have to add our handles just so like everybody like, yes, I do know them.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Fierce Queen Tings is, I was debating changing that. I mean, I made that when I was like freaking like 21 or whatever. And when I started pole, I like told my sister, I was like, maybe I should change that, whatever. And she like barked at me. She was like, if you ever change that, I'm never talking to you again. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll just keep it. We'll keep it. We'll hard send. She said full send, full send.
Too funny. I
Yes.
love it. And now we have a
Well,
whole persona in pole dance, and everybody knows you as that.
Exactly. So she was, per usual, my sister was right.
I love it. Well, we'll start at the beginning. What brought you to pole dancing?
So my origin story of what brought me to pole, honestly, it's more unique than I think the normal or average story you'd hear is. What got me into pole is, so to start from the beginning, my mother was a professional ballerina at Boston Ballet. She had the dancing gene. She got married. She had kids. And she owned her own ballet studio. I would take classes from her. And then I also took classes, from public teachers as well. Um, Jazz, tap, theater, all of the above. My sister, who's older than me, she's my older sister, I'm the youngest. She also took dance classes. And, I always looked up to my sister and my mom with their dance abilities and everything. And I pursued it. And, fast forward, to when I was 22, it's so like crazy how time flies. Like I just can't believe it's been this long. But I was 22 and, every dancer who has dance background off of pole has their, dance idol, whether it's, someone like Baryshnikov with ballet or someone like, Paula Abdul or like Janet Jackson, whatever. For me, my dance idol growing up was Jennifer Lopez. And as all of us pole dancers know, you guys could really finish the story for me. I don't even have to finish it. I mean, she did this movie, Hustlers, which brought our art form to mainstream platforms. And being a diehard Jennifer Lopez fan, like when I tell you guys, like we could do a whole separate podcast just on her music videos. I could dissect that for an extended period of time. Being a diehard J-Lo fan who knows like every single dance break, all the 8 counts, like every costume, like I am a huge fan. When she did Hustlers, I remember, because obviously I followed her on social media, she posted this behind the scenes video of her training with Johanna Sapaki from Cirque, who we all know. Anyone who's listening to this podcast knows Johanna. So she trained her, Jennifer Lopez, at her house with Johanna's pole. And I remember just like seeing J-Lo doing these tricks that she was teaching her and thinking to myself, this woman is 50 something and has a 6-pack and like has already established herself as like, the legend, the icon we all know her as. Love her or hate her, anyone listening to this, you can't deny that she's iconic. Like she's an icon. Even if you're not a big fan of her, she has paved the way for a lot of people. And she's undeniably a dance icon. So seeing her do this like foreign, to her and to me at the time, art form of athleticism and like incorporating dance and athleticism and, encompassed under one tree, I just remember looking at it and being like, I need to do that. Like, I want to be her because she's my idol. And I just remember thinking like, I had no idea that this interview would even be happening. these years later, I had no idea where my life was going to head. You know, I was teaching dance, traditional dance to kids, you know, jazz, tap, ballet. I was bartending at the time. And I saw her video and I said, you know, I dance, I go to the gym, I love me a good pull-up. So I feel like this could be something that I could be good at. You know, my pull-up game, you know, is stronger than my pull-out game. So, you know, I I went and I signed up I literally typed in Google pull classes near me, and North Shore Pole Fitness, where I currently instruct, popped up next to me. And I'll never, ever, ever, ever forget the electricity I felt in my very first class with my very first instructor. Her name was Tiffany. Um, Something I really loved about her that I actually think was admirable about her that I took away from her and I brought into my own teaching fast, you know, once that came along later down the road, is she had such excitement. She had such excitement about that I was like, she was excited that I was excited, and then our excitement fed off each other. And like, that's the type of energy you should have as an instructor, especially as an instructor, you know. If you're teaching people this new art form and they're excited, shouldn't you be excited that they're excited because you're teaching, you know, you're being paid to teach this. So you should be excited about your craft. And I think the first pole move I did was a Jasmine, and I'll never forget like how scary it felt, like releasing the bottom leg. I was like, ah, like I'm like scared, whatever. And I don't know, something I'm not a spiritual person. I don't go to church, but I do believe in trusting in your gut. And something in my gut just told me like this is for you. Like this is your calling. And it went from that pole virgins class to me saying to her after, I want to do private lessons with you, like starting as soon as possible, because this is coming really naturally to me. And she was so enthusiastic about it and so encouraging about it. And she was saying, you know, you seem super capable, both athletically and also like in terms of how fast you pick up, because you can be athletic and not pick things up fast. I mean, there's two different, you know, having the dance background for me, I honestly think really helped perpetuate that. So I took privates, and a few months later I was asked to be an instructor. So
Yeah, I love that. And did you find that your prior dancing history helped you when you started transitioning more into pole?
for sure, I think the hugest thing that was a takeaway to me that helped me the most with pole is I always tell people, sometimes my adult students, and I'm not adding anyone, I just mean in general, like as a fitness instructor, because I don't just teach pole, I teach, you know, Zumba and other things as well, and adult traditional dance. Sometimes the adults are harder to teach than the kids, because with the kids, they have this like, whether they like it or not, they have this almost like motivation that's driving them to like push themselves beyond what's comfortable. And I think as adults, we can sometimes become a little, you know, set in our ways and a little bit like, no, like I'm going to do this when I want to do it, when I, you know, when I don't feel like it, I'm not going to do it. For me, having that dance background that you're asking about really helped me learn to kind of push through the pain and be motivated, because anyone tuning into this podcast who has had a training in traditional dance, you know, when you're in ballet class and you're at the bar, the first person who complains is the first person kicked out. So, you know, you have to have very thick skin as a dancer. You know, I was competitive, I competed. You know, you have to not be a robot, not be emotionless. You have emotion, but you learn to channel that frustration and channel it into productivity and channel it into how passionate you are about what you're doing. And having the dance background didn't just help with coordination, but as Cris asked, you know, it really helped with discipline. That was the hugest factor that I took away from being a dancer and being at barn, you know, Combre, you know, having that discipline and that drive to be better is, I think, the attitude also is what helped me get used to the bruises.
Super funny. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
So you came from a family of dancers. Are you the only pole dancer, or are there others who followed in your footsteps?
No, I'm the only pole dancer. No, but valid question. No, it's listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's a valid question. If there's other people that dance, whatever. I'll never forget when I like first started pole, and I wasn't even teaching at the time. And of course, like I had my little, ghetto home pole I bought off Amazon that was like $90 or whatever, and it was like, a piece is missing, like it's like gonna fall over any second, like it's living on a prayer, like Bon Jovi, like the whole getup. And I'll never forget, it was like my birthday, because when I started pole I was 22, but I was about to turn 23, and I had my sister over and I was like, oh my god, like you should like try this, and I just like shoved her into something. And I'll never forget, like the next day she woke up and she was like, my back and my shoulder is completely wrecked. And I think my chiropractor is going to have to do like a miracle on me. And it's safe to say that she's the biggest fan of pole after that for herself. After that, so no one else pursued it besides me. My sister still, like, has PTSD from that moment.
That's too bad.
That's the last to everyone. Maybe you have to like sneak it in like a future family party. Like,
Yeah, she had a bad first experience.
too funny.
Yeah. Yeah, next time I'll be like, let's go over like walks. Yeah. Yeah. I think I got too excited. I was like, let's try to like shove her into like whatever I was shoving her into at the time. I forgot.
No. Right, sometimes shoving doesn't work.
No.
We all
And,
tend to
and I would never do that now. I would never do that as an instructor, but we're talking, this is like 10,000 BC. It was, before conducting classes. So I'm going to do that now. And who's tuning into this, don't be afraid to take my class. I would never shove you into anything, just for the record.
that is too funny. We all tend to shove ourselves into things though, as pole dancers, like though. We don't do students, like you said, but we do ourselves. Like, I'm gonna just try it.
Well, I think it depends. I think me, when I was first training super intense tricks, like when I first unlocked like my bird of paradise and spatchcock and more advanced shapes, I feel like at the half mark, because I've been pulling for 4 years, I feel like at my half mark, I would try to like be a little more audacious than whatnot. But now that I just turned 27, I'm approaching 30, I'm like, be a little more cautious before trying certain shapes, so you can still be able to do shapes in the future. Um, so yeah, definitely a little more. I live my body more than I think I did during the height of my learning intense tricks. Okay, there we go.
We're good.
Is that
Yeah,
better?
yeah. Yay! So sorry about that. Thank you.
Cool. I mean, I don't say sorry, because it could be. I mean, I don't know. You know how like this is like classic when I go out and like my Verizon bars say like full, and I'm like bullshit because I can't hear shit. But like I don't know, my bars say I'm good, but I don't know.
It happens.
I don't know. I'm not getting a lag anymore.
No, you're
No,
perfect now.
not no,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, good.
Good, because now we can
Yay,
talk
and
about
we're back.
Bird of Paradise.
Yes, we were talking about putting ourselves into things that we shouldn't, like spatchcock, bird of paradise, how we used to do it, but we don't do it anymore. And now Mandy wants to talk about bird of paradise.
Perfect. Let's segue.
Well, I noticed that you sent 2 pictures of your Bird of Paradise, and I was like, ooh, a dancer after my own heart, because I love Bird of Paradise. It's so beautiful. But you
It's
have,
my favorite shape. Yeah.
yes. Do you have the trifecta of awesome, the bird of paradise, spatchcock, and eagle?
I do not have the I will never have eagle. And here's the thing, I'm kind of okay with it. Because when I first started pole, my like number one, like I'll never forget, I was like, as long as one day, if I can ever do bird of paradise, I will be like happy for the rest of time. That was my big like dream move. Um, and yeah, I have the ability to do it, thank God. But would I ever want to do eagle? Child, listen, my back flexibility is zero. I always tell my students when we're warming up, like my legs, like they're bendy, you know, they're stretchy, but my back flexibility is atrocious. It's not something that's ever going to be in the cards for me. And honestly, like I'm kind of cool with it. Like I see other people do it and I'm like, yes, like give them their flowers. Like we love it. I love that Miley Cyrus song. Like I'm here for it. But me personally, like Eagles just not in the cards. It's just not in the cards, which I'm totally fine with. Totally fine with it. Um, and yes, I sent you two of my bird pictures because I thought I liked when you said send two pictures. I mean, there's so many pictures I have, but I liked the juxtaposition of the two. One is like earthy, sporty spice. You know, that was for my Thailand trip I just had in December, which in Phuket, which was amazing. And then the other one's like, you know, stereotypical pole you hear about with like the heels and like the thong and like the whole whatever. I liked that they had two very different takes on that move. So that's why I wanted to send those specific two.
I love them both so much. I was like, yay, bird of paradise.
I love it. I love bird. It's a great shape.
Yes. I also
They're
have
amazing.
no back flexibility, so I don't know if I'll ever get eagle, but maybe
Yeah,
someday.
yeah, no. I'm never gonna get eagle. And again, like I'm kind of okay with that. Like I literally told myself when I was 23, I was like, you know, as long as one day you can get bird of paradise, like you'll die happy. I'm like, I feel that way. Like I accomplished my goal and I feel good about that. So I'm like, I'm cool. I'm cool.
When did that happen?
I unlocked bird of paradise. I was 1 year and 2 months into pole.
That's amazing. Because
Yes.
some people train for
So
years.
that happened a couple of years ago. But I still pull it out. I still put out, you know, I did it in Thailand literally 2 months ago, and then I did it in competition. Um, oh, and then I did it in a music video last June. So like I still do it. I still do it. I like it. It's a lot on the shoulder. It's not even leg flexibility for me. For me, the leg flexibility is like you can pull it, rip it, throw it. Like that's totally fine. For me, it's the shoulder. The shoulder is brutal. The shoulder hurts. But as my Botox lady said, pain is beauty. So
Too funny. Pain is beauty, but I definitely feel that shoulder pain.
yeah.
OMG. So you were already flexy for the most part when you started, or like did you have a
I wasn't super yeah, I wasn't super flexy. I would say I was just like average dancer flexy. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm pulling my leg behind my head. I was just like normal, like just normal like theater kid, like, you know, nothing crazy, no over splits or pancakes or anything crazy. I was just like, you know, dancer flexy. I don't know how else to say it. Not like ballet flexy, but like dance kid flexy. Not like a, you know, flawless turnout, but not, you know, I can't touch the ground, like somewhere in between. Somewhere in between.
I'm glad you said that because sometimes people think that we're all just like naturally flexible, but sometimes we have to work toward the flex.
No, no. Yes, yes. No, I had to work my ass off to get bird and to get spatchcock and all these crazy flexy moves. I had to be, you know, you can ask my, you know, when I started pole, it was crazy because it was right before COVID. And then COVID happened and then I, you know, lost my apartment, had to move back in with my mom and had a home pole luckily. So I did pole during COVID, but like you can ask my mom, like she would wake up and I'd be like in the living room, like holding my lunges, like stretching for hours per day, hours.
I'm trying to slowly get on that level because it's, I don't know, I feel as a man, it is fucking hard to get the splits, at least certain splits. And I'm trying to get on that level of just like holding it, stretching longer, being okay with it.
It's 1000% harder to be flexible as a man. Absolutely. And I'm so glad you brought that up because I feel like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of, especially male pole dancers, don't even like, I feel like, don't even talk about that enough. Like we're looking at all these crazy women who are just like born with naturally more flexible hips and open hips. And, all these people are like, oh, like I want to get like freaking whatever crazy shape they're seeing. And I'm like, well, like it's not impossible, but for us guys, it's much more difficult. Um, and it's the same thing for girls. I think with girls, one of my girl students, she tells me all the time, like, I want to get Phoenix, and I want to get deadlift, and I want to feel comfortable in my Aisha's on spin and blah, 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 blah. And I say the same thing to her. I'm like, listen, that's where the guys have it easier than the girls. Like it's easier for us to deadlift. It's easier for us to hold these shapes because we got the strength. So it's really, really, really difficult. I've tried so hard to be a mix of, my flexi tricks with my strong tricks. I think every pole dancer, you both would know, I think every pole dancer struggles with walking the line of practicing both departments of, boot camp and like Black Swan, you know what I mean? Like we all want to encompass both, but it's a lot of work for sure.
It is. And like as our muscles get bigger and we get stronger, we lose our flexibility so fast.
Yeah, and the difficult thing is, especially with Bird, because it's a shoulder shape, the more muscular my shoulder was getting, it was starting to become less elastic. And what happens is you have to overstretch the shoulders the more muscular they get so that they still stay elastic. It's really difficult. It's not easy. And that's kind of, the truth about really any sport, outside of pole, any sport, if you want to be really good at it, it's not easy. But we do it because we love it. Everyone in this chat loves pole. That's why we're here.
It is so very true.
And would you share a bit of like your training schedule, or like how often do you train flexibility and how often do you train strength? Do you do Pilates? What do you do?
Right. So it really depends on if I'm prepping for a competition or I'm prepping for a music video or I'm prepping for a photo. It really depends. Um, when it comes to like a few months before comp, I will cut carbs and do like extra protein and like try to cut excess sugar. And like, honestly, for me personally, a lot of pole has to do with diet. That's just my personal take on things. I find that when I'm my most elastic and most, and my endurance is at its best, it usually is reflected with what I make in the kitchen. So for me, like when it comes to my training, my diet and training really like are very connected. Like it's absolutely crazy how connected for me personally with my body they are. Like, if I'm having like one of those months, like it's my birthday month this month. So if I'm having one of those months where I'm like, oh, like an extra little cheat day here or there, like whatever, I really do see my pole performance go down, and it gets reflected within the dietary intake. So for me, being disciplined with what I consume is like first and foremost how my pole performance quality will be affected. In terms of training, something that I would say I think is my favorite part of being a teacher is not only do we love it, so that's why we teach it, but I find, because I'm a very extreme person. I'm one of those people that it's like I'm either like up at 6 a.m., like 7 gallons of water, like detox, whatever, like a whole thing. Or I'm one of those people that's like, nah, we're just gonna like chill this month and just like not, I'm a very extreme person. So something I do love about being a teacher is it kind of forces me to kind of at least maintain those essential invert basics. Like I will never not feel amazing in my inverts, whether they're aerial or not, because being a teacher almost it forces you to stay on your shit. It forces you to stay on top of things. And controversial segue. A lot of people are going to not like what I have to say, but what's new? I don't think that people should be teaching inverts that can't invert. I think it's a bad, it's not, I think it's a bad demonstration to your students because you're saying you have to do X, Y, Z, and then your students are looking at you like, well, if we took the advice you're giving us, that's where it's going to get us, which is essentially nowhere. But if you're really staying on top of it and your students are kind of seeing you sweat and they're seeing you push and they're seeing that it's difficult, I find that that's actually going to inspire them and be more impactful to have them work harder than if you're just like standing and like, yeah. So then you kind of just like, yeah, like they're not going to, like, it's beyond, for me, like teaching, it's not performative. Like when I say this, extreme statement about like, I don't think people should teach inverting who can't invert. It's nothing to do with performance. Like you're teaching, you're not trying to perform. No one cares what your face looks like. No one cares what your makeup is. No one cares what your outfit is. It's about demonstrating and being a role model for who's in your class. And whether these people want to take it professionally or not, or they just want to do it for a hobby, they're not going to get very good at that hobby if their role model is not good at that hobby. And that's just my personal take on that. So I think that for me, my training schedule, it really depends, again, what I'm prepping for. But in terms of my like bare bone essentials, like my bare bone splits, not over splits, and my bare bone inverting, whether I'm training off of the clock or not, which of course I do, but it's not every day. I know some people, shout out to anyone who's tuning into this, who trains like freaking like 5-6 days a week. My body personally would reject that information. Like I would just not, my body cannot do that. I teach like, 3 times a week, and then I'll train literally an additional like day. Like one day, y'all, okay? One extra day. My body would start to fall apart unless it's like, comp season. I'll throw like a 2 to 3 day extra on top of the 2-3 teaching. But like in a weekly basis, it's a lot. It's a lot on the body. I think that people don't realize with pole how hard it is on the body. And I tell my students all the time, if I'm struggling, that's saying something. But when I say struggling, I don't mean like struggling to invert. You get what I'm saying. If I'm putting the work in and I'm sweating, I mean, pole's hard. No matter what level you're at, I don't care how advanced you're at. These crazy polers out there, Dimitri, whatever, and like all these people. It's work. It's work. No matter what you're doing, it's very difficult. And I'm not one to sugarcoat the difficulty of pole. However, I will be the biggest cheerleader and the biggest confetti popper for your team regarding your progress. But I'm never going to tell people like, I don't play it off. Do you know what I mean? Like when I come off stage, like people, so many people play it off. They're like, that was amazing. This, that was amazing. That. There's so many people that are like, oh yeah, I like just woke up and like threw that together. I'm not like, I don't do that. I'm like, actually, we're lucky I made it. Like, you know what I mean? I keep it real. I'm like, it's difficult. It's difficult. And I think if you keep it real with your students, if you're telling your students like, that was a breeze, that's going to not necessarily be the most, for me, if I was a student, I'd be like, oh, okay. Like maybe I'm just like having an off year. I keep it real with my students. I always tell them, if I'm sweating, you're sweating. If you're sweating, I'm sweating. It's a workout.
Right? And everyone's body is different too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a loaded question with a loaded answer. What's my training schedule like? I always circle things back. It depends on the criteria of the month. Is there a performance? Is there a shoot? And again, I think for me, diet and pole, I don't think that's talked about enough. I think people are always telling their students, and I do this, and this is how many burpees, or this is how many pull-ups, or blah, 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 blah. It's like, for me, I'm like, actually, I think we should get Special K on the phone. That really like influences how well I do. No, for real. Like that, for me, if I'm really like being careful with what I'm consuming and I'm not consuming extra calories, I find that my pole performance goes up, you know?
Right. I'm actually glad you did bring that up because I don't think too many people do talk about that. But you need to eat
Yeah.
like an athlete because we are athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I tell all my students, you can ask my students, I tell every single student after we do like my super intense like conditioning class, I say, you all need to have a large protein shake after this, like a large one, like 2 scoops, like large protein shake after this, because pole is so taxing, and you have to build your muscle back. So, that's what I always tell my students. I'm like, you can ask all of them on protein shake, protein shake, protein shake. Like you have to rebuild the muscle we're destroying in every class. We don't get these bruises, for nothing.
It's so true. And I definitely agree with the talking about the diet along with the strength and conditioning. Because we all work on the strength and conditioning and flexibility, but lack in the diet.
Right.
And even now, I've started to take away red meat, and just that alone has like changed a lot with my polling. So I'm glad that you brought it up.
Yeah. And as Mandy said, like, we're athletes. It's athletic intake for sure. And again, and I know we're repeating, but I definitely don't think that's talked about enough, because I think people look at these people and, people kind of just idolize, whatever. And, let's circle it back to J-Lo. I know so many different people that say to me, oh, she just looks that way because she's rich and she has money and yada, 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 and whatever. And I'm like, no one's forcing her to like have Nesquik for breakfast. You know what I mean? Like no one's like, that's not, she's choosing to digest what she's choosing to digest. And unfortunately, it's very connected to athleticism. And that's why Mandy's completely right. If you're an athlete, you have to eat like an athlete for sure. You have to have your protein, lots of protein. You got to take your vitamins, your magnesium, all of that, rebuild your muscles that were working so hard.
Right. And would you say that your diet has stayed consistent as a pole dancer as it was when you were just regular dancing? Or do you need to like adjust it?
No, that's a great question. I'm consuming way more protein now than I was then, for sure. Way more protein, like high protein for sure. I was not consuming this much prior. And the thing is, I was lifting weights at the gym, but calisthenic lifting weights is you're lifting your own body weight, which actually weighs more than the dumbbells you're lifting. So people don't realize that. Like, you can go to the gym and lift dumbbells, all day. That's going to be great. Like, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to be great for your pole performance, but you're lifting your entire body on the pole. So for sure, I definitely have had an increase in my protein intake since starting this craft.
Thank you for saying that because I think it's good for maybe like new pole dancers when they come into it, they don't realize how much stress that they're putting on their body and they can get burnt out really easily. And they're like, what's going on? But yeah, maybe just pay attention to what you're eating.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, do you still teach other forms of dance?
I do, yes. I teach jazz, contemporary, tap. I teach Zumba, which is a really, really, really fun cardio exercise. I just love movement. I think that's another thing that brings all sorts of pole people together, no matter what your level is, no matter whether you compete or you don't compete. I just think that we all love to move. And anyone who's athletic at all would agree that movement, exercise gives you endorphins, and endorphins, essentially make you happy. So I just love movement. I really do. I've always been, growing up, even though I'm the youngest of 5 kids, I've always been a leader, not a follower. I never I never was one to be the follower in school and dance and, my family. I was always one who kind of, had my own beat to my own drum going on. Um, and I find that that is helpful in group fitness exercise programs because so many people, you could have like a group of, let's say, like 10, 10 fitness instructors walk into a bar, and 9 of them, and they're all in great shape, and 9 of them are just, polite, and they're this and they're that, and no red flags, whatever, and they, whatever. And then you have like the crazy one who like also is put together, no, also put together, also capable, also this, but having that, having that energy, whether, no matter who, see, I've been called a lot of things. Some people might call it chaotic, some people might call it crazy, but the point is, if they're calling it something, your energy is big enough for someone to have a label for it. And your energy is big enough for someone to be talking about it. And as Kris Jenner would say, all press is good press. And having energy to bring into a room for, half the population, maybe they'll call it chaotic. That's not for them. The other half will find it inspiring and contagious. And I do like anything I teach because the people who do come to me seem to like me in their departments. So, I enjoy feeding off of the energy I get from the people who come to my classes. I really enjoy it a lot. You can ask my students, I'm crazy. Like every warm up, I just like scream the whole time. I have fun. I really have a good time. I have a really good time with it. And I think that's another thing, someone could be, out of the 9 who walked into the bar, I'm going to keep rolling with this metaphor. The other 9 could, have it all together in terms of, credentials, whatever. But at the end of the day, if as a group fitness instructor, because, whatever branch you're in, that's what it is. If you're like clocking in and clocking out and being very mechanical and robotic about it, that's not exciting. That's not inspiring. That's not special. It's not. But if you come at it with like, I'm so happy, and forget happy, like I'm honored to be here and sharing this space with all of you to like sweat and have a good time, that's what sets you apart from other people that are just like, yeah, and like I'm like showing up to do whatever. It's like, yeah, but like no one likes that energy. At least not well, some people do, There's something for everyone. Again, there's something for everyone. I'm not for everyone, for sure. But that's the beauty of pole. There's so many options. There's so many options. There's so many different types of instructors.
There is. Speaking of so many options of pole, what kind of pole do you tend to gravitate to? What's your like style? Do you like to experiment with different styles?
My favorite between static or spin, even though lately, so I've always hated static, but the past few months, static has really grown on me. The past few months, I've actually been doing more static than not, which is rare. Between the two styles, spin has always spoken more to me. I think part of that is like being a dancer and like, pirouettes, spotting, across the floor, stuff like that. I think spin looks more, not that either of them don't look whatever, but I think, to the naked eye of just a dancer, right, to someone who doesn't understand pole, I think it can look more dance-y. So for me, I gravitated more towards that because I'm like, I like these pretty shapes and like the pointed feet and like the rotation or whatever. In terms of within the two genres of static and spin, what style do I lean more towards? It's kind of hard because I feel like so many people have their like department of like, I do heels, or I do like crazy static Phoenix things, or I do crazy flexy things with like no muscle engagement, like deadlifty things, whatever. I feel like, to be honest, I've been very mixed. I've been very just like, I kind of like a little bit of everything. I could actually have a better time telling you what my least, not in terms of favorite, but what I'm probably the least good at would probably be heels. I like heels like work in terms of like the flaring, you know, like all that like that floor stuff, you know, fluidity. That's probably what my greatest weakness is with pole because I've always been more of a tricks person. I've always been like, I really want to nail this trick on static or spin, or I really want to do this combo. Um, in terms of combining dance with pole, I think I really stay true to my roots and I like more of a contemporary dance meets pole fusion. Even though I do like, that doesn't mean I don't love heels though. Again, like that's just probably my most weak out of the whole family. I love it all. I love it all. I've dabbled in all of it. Um, yeah, I would say my style's kind of all over the place, but if I had to put a label on it, I'm more of a tricks person than a low flow or heels or whatever. I like the tricks. You know, when I was in Thailand in December, it was all tricks. We learned so many crazy tricks and I just love it. I think something about and this is why I thrive off of pole. Something about like the risk. I love that with these crazy tricks where there's a risk for injury, I actually find that almost motivates me to do them because there's such like a what could happen factor when you're first initially learning these things. You know, so many tricks like my pole friends will be like, you know, that's scary. Like, I want to do that or I want to do that. And I feel like when I was in Thailand, I was with a bunch of other crazy people. See, there is something to being chaotic, guys. Chaotic is the theme. When you're chaotic, you're adventurous. When you're adventurous, you put yourself out there. When you put yourself out there, you do things that you didn't think you would be able to do. And it was so funny when I was in that group of Thailand people at the camp. Everyone was crazy. Like, no, nothing scared anyone. All of us were like, oh, like, absolutely, like go for it. Totally. Like all of us were just like, I don't know. When having my personality I feel like it has helped me. I definitely haven't had a mental block. There's that for sure. You know, a lot of people it's mental. You know, I'm scared to this or whatever. For me, I'm like, I don't know. I think I should just send it. Just, of course, safely. Anyone tuning in safely, use your spot. Use a spot. Do your research. Be prepared. Have a chopper before you try a fonzie. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean. Having that like excitement and adventure about pole has been, I think, why I'm more of a trickster than a flower or all these other sorts of styles.
Love it. I'm the complete opposite. I'm scared of everything.
Yes, I'm like you. I love tricks. I'm actually kind of surprised that you shy away from heels because I love the content you post with heels, but I'm the same way. I feel more comfortable with the tricks.
Yeah, I really don't post a lot of content with heels though, like on purpose. Not because I'm not good at it. Like I do pick up on things quickly. It's again the dance background. Like I do pick up on things quickly. It's just I don't for me, I love like if I'm gonna be planted in a room of 100 people who have never seen a pole dancer before, I'm not gonna be like, as much as it may be tempting, you know, the immediate reaction for me might be like, you know, throw on Streets by Doja Cat and like throw me on a pair of heels and like let me just like sex it up. But for me, like that's the stereotype of pole that these non-educated people think that pole is. So for me, I'd way rather be like, no, just like I'll do it a cappella. Like let me just do like a quick little pass, like some impressive athletic pass. Not saying heels aren't impressive. I have the utmost respect and admiration for heels. In fact, there's so many different people I follow that their heels flow is like sickeningly perfect. It's like disgustingly perfect. I'm like, I could never be that smooth in heels. Like even on my best day, like I don't know. Some of these people I see, I'm like, God bless y'all. But again, the people who are usually the best at that, that's usually their niche. That's usually their thing. Like heels is like their thing. For me, what drew me to pole was the gymnastics elements because I never got to take gymnastics growing up. Fun facts, when I was a kid, I really wanted to take cheer, but that wasn't an option for me due to my family's, you know, conservative religious ways. But like, I always thought cheer was fun because don't you guys think that cheer is kind of almost similar to pole in the sense of like cheer is dance with like some gymnastic elements. And I never took gymnastics, but I did take dance. And what gravitated me towards the interest of wanting to join cheer, which of course I consequently never got to, I liked that there was like dance breaks and loud music, but also like all of a sudden like 17 backflips in a row, like, and then like more choreography. I liked the juxtaposition of dance with wow factors that separate them from regular dance. And I think that that's pole for me. I think that it can be very dancey, and it can also be very athletic. And well, I mean, of course it's all athletic, but it can be very gymnastic. And I never got to take gymnastics. So for me, I feel like I got to kind of like tap into like a department that I was restricted from.
I love it. And now you love tricks. You love Bird of Paradise, but what trick do you hate?
What trick do I hate that I can't do, or that I can do that I hate?
Both.
Trick that I hate that I can't do. Oh my God. There's so many. Okay, so Bird of Paradise was my dream move. Next dream move was spatchcock, which thank God I worked really hard towards, and my body was capable of that. Third dream trick move that I have not gotten, that maybe it's just not in the cards for me, that I hate because I can't get it. Probably satellite. I see satellite on people and it looks gorgeous. It looks stunning. It looks impressive. It looks crazy. And yeah, I don't think that one's in the cards for me. And they say that you don't have to have crazy back flexibility to do that move, but I don't know, because anyone who I've ever seen do it has had back flexibility. So I don't know about that one. They say that you don't need it, but from what I've seen, it seems pretty quintessential. And now least favorite move that I can do. God, I have like such a love-hate relationship with Gennaro. I have a very love-hate relationship. Like, I love it. Like, there are months, like, it's weird. It's one of those moves for me where some months it feels so good on my body and it feels so natural. I mean, nothing in pole feels natural, guys. It all feels like shit. But you know, there are those moments where it feels great, and then there are those months where I'm like, this move sucks. Like, why is it so annoying? Like, I have a love-hate relationship with that move. You know, that move to me is like J-Lo's last album. Like, I love her so much, but like, it wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. It's a love-hate.
I think that's a popular trick that people hate, Gennaro.
Yeah,
I can't wait to try Gennaro, but I'm having a brain fart as to what satellite looks like.
I'm gonna let Mandy explain that one.
Isn't it the one where you're like upside down, your arms behind your back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've never done it, but I have
Yeah,
seen lots of back flexibility people do it.
yeah, exactly. And it's the one where if you're in like a layback and you like reach your elbow behind your body, and then like one leg, it's a crazy looking move. And that's why I like it because it's also unique and it's different.
I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds fun.
And then ready to kind of ping pong back off of Mandy's question of like, you know, least favorite move I can't do versus least favorite move I can do. I'm gonna throw a bonus one in there. I'll say trick that I find the most impressive out of all tricks that the pole world has to offer, that again, I will never be able to execute from the lack of back flexibility, is I think Rainbow Marchenko is incredibly impressive. And whenever I see anyone do it, I'm just like, you know, maybe in another life, maybe in like, you know, not this one. This one, my body looks at that and it just goes, no. It's, you know, it's what my Botox lady said when I was like, maybe I don't need it. She was like, no, you need it. You need it for sure. It's just, Rainbow Marchenko is not in the cards for me at all. But when I see people do it, my jaw really genuinely does fall to the floor. It does. I'm like, amazing, amazing.
Right? Like maybe one day when you're in Gennaro, you're just like, maybe I'll pull my foot to my over my head. No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, yeah, no, just it's unbelievable when I see it, especially I think, especially for men, when I see a man do it, I'm extra impressed because like not many men can do it. It's already a move where not many people can do. So when you see a guy do it, you're like, whoa, like baby got back, y'all, right? Like,
Well, what kind of do you use a specific pole grip, hand and body grip?
yes, this should have been the first question asked in this interview. While the most people were tuned in, and I would have gone to anyone listening to this podcast. Yeah, dry hands is the gold that we don't deserve. I find that it is literally quintessentially like it is a lifesaver. It is the blood of Christ. It is the euphoria, utopia. Anything that's not dry hands is a big no for me. But that's just me. That's just me. I can't, what do y'all think? Y'all enter the chat on that one. Do y'all use dry hands?
I started off using it, but I'm allergic to most grips now. My skin just rejects everything, so I use the Loop It.
I do like.
Well, but that's not really your fault. I mean, if you're allergic, I mean, that's just unfortunate, That's nothing to do with liking it.
That's true.
I used to love dry hands, but now I saw that all the foreign pole dancers were using monkey hands, and I am in love with the sticky and the glue.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like not, only a couple of my students use dry hands. Most of them use other things. The couple that do, I think I've converted them. I've been like, it's on Amazon on sale, 2 for 1, like whatever. But yeah, it's just for me, that works the best for me. But no, I like hearing though what other people use. So Mandy, you said you use like Loop It?
Yeah, it's that powder puff.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
the pad. The
Yeah.
pad, yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
my coworker uses the pad for her grip. Yeah.
I love the loop. I don't know. Dry hands is amazing. Like if I don't have the monkey hands because it's so expensive, I'll revert to the dry hands or the generic dry hands. But
Mhm.
monkey hands, I never went back after that.
I don't know, Chris. You'll have to pop my cherry on that one. I feel like I'll have to try that. No, because here's the thing. I'm someone I never knock it till I try it. I would be open to trying it. For me, here's how I'll really know if it's good or not. If the pole's warmed up and I'm ready to go, if I use that monkey stuff and I'm doing a Chinese Phoenix and it feels better than dry hands, then I'm sold. Because anything Phoenix E requires a lot of grip. So.
Then I recommend the green bottle, the gluey. Like that has changed my dynamic game and those kinds of spins dramatically. And you can do it right when you walk in without a warm up. I don't recommend it, but it can be done. It is a fascinating grip.
I love it.
I'll
No,
send you
that's
the
great. That gives me one more new thing to try. Absolutely. Just when I think I've tried it all, I haven't.
Too funny.
Well, you mentioned that you travel a lot. Do you want to tell us some of your
Yeah.
biggest traveling memories or accomplishments?
Well, it depends. Are we talking like pole related, I assume, right? Okay. Because I'm like 2 completely different answers. Um, um, yeah, I think to kind of bring it back to what I was talking about earlier with Thailand, the Thailand trip I took to that pole camp I did, that was the most inspiring, influential, impactful, once in a lifetime, like that was the most meaningful trip to me. That was literally in December of 2 months ago. It was a very, very, very long plane ride because we live on the East Coast. It was 25 hours on the way there, 27 hours on the way back. Yeah, yeah. And that trip was the most exciting trip I've gotten to take because it was pole. You know, it was about pole. Pole's my favorite thing. Getting to pull with these people from all over the world was so exciting to me and thrilling. And I got to train with one of my pole idols, Bethany Finley, and her and I ended up becoming what's so funny about this whole story. And there's an extended version that's for after hours. We'll get into that another time. But the funny thing about me and Bethany is, let's just say we are two very, very, very similar people. And neither of us, I had no idea that her and I would be so similar. I had no idea that we would hit it off. I had no idea we would be still collabing to this day and planning things around no camp schedule to this day. But her and I were like, it felt like we were siblings. Like that's how close that her and I were. But that just made it extra special on top of the fact that she's a badass instructor. That just made it extra special.
Oh my
That
God.
must have been fun. I heard about that Thailand one. That must have been such a beautiful experience.
It was. Hold on, I'm just gonna snag something really quick over here.
Oh my gosh, if I met Bethany Finlay, I don't think I would be able to speak.
You're too funny. You'd be able to speak. We interviewed her. Let me stop.
Oh my
Bethany
gosh.
Finley. She has so many like TikTok followers and all of that. That's amazing.
She's so incredible. Like things I
Yeah.
would never be able to do.
I'm sorry you feel that way. Sometimes I feel that way.
No, I just know my limitations. That's all.
It's too funny. She does have amazing stuff I want to try.
hmm Right, maybe if I broke down some of it, but or maybe if I met her and I found the ability to speak, she could teach me.
Good thing I just plugged that in. No, I was just making sure my computer battery was staying
Oh,
alive.
thank you for doing that. I think we talked
But yeah, no, the Thailand trip was definitely the most inspired I've felt about pole in a long time. I think that everyone in pole can go through kind of dry spells of feeling maybe a little uninspired, or things can seem a little robotic and a little routine. And I think that I was going through that at the time I went on this trip, and something about connecting. And honestly, part of the problem of that is, and this is something that I bet you guys have talked about, because we're East Coast, is there are not a lot of super advanced people in our neck of the woods to train with. And I think that things started to feel a little uninspired on my end, because I don't have like a geographically, I mean, like close to my area, like geographically, I don't have like a close like fellow super advanced pole dancer for me to train with all the time. I've trained with amazingly talented people, one of them being Lisa Bella. Her and I have trained together a lot over the years and done projects together and shot together and done music videos together and whatnot. She's amazing. I love training with her, but it's hard because she doesn't live close to me, so we don't get to train often. And I think something about going to Thailand and being around all people on the same level and taking such extremely crazy classes, like crazy tricks, that kind of excited me. It relit a fire in my fireplace, metaphorically, because I felt like there's so many tricks that I could be doing that I'm just not, because I don't have people to train with in my area. And it made me re-fall in love with pole in a way that I hadn't felt in a while.
Definitely respect and understand that. It is very hard for me to train the things that I want to train. as well. So I understand.
Mhm.
We're gonna change that because we're gonna be the people come looking for.
Yes. I'm like, Cris, is this an invitation? Are we training soon? Are we training together soon?
Hey, why not? I'm down. I always hope to dance with everybody we get to interview. That's always the dream.
Absolutely. I think to kind of harp on another thing you guys were saying, because you were talking about like my travel, whatever. I went to Greece not for pole. See, that's the best part. I went to Greece just for vacation in September, and I was in Santorini and Mykonos. But I was in Santorini, then I went to Mykonos for a few days, then I went back to Santorini. And when I was there, um, I didn't know that Santorini had a pole studio. I like didn't even know. If I had known that, I would have been there like every freaking day. Um, and I was in an Uber. Well, they don't have Uber there, but it was the Uber equivalent, whatever, to my next destination. You know, we were going to this like tour of, you know, one of the vineyards that they had where like whatever. And the driver was just making small talk and was saying like, "What do you do for work?" Blah 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 blah. And I was like, "Oh, like I'm a professional pole dancer and I also instruct it." And he was like, "Oh, like there's a pole dancer, there's a pole studio and a pole dancer who owns it, you know, here." And I was like, "What?" Like it's you know it's a relatively small island, and I was like, I didn't hear anything about any of that. And I follow so many, you know, we all follow so many people on Instagram and so many pages. I didn't even know of that. Um, so then this was really funny. So then I found the Instagram of the page, and I was only in Santorini for like another day. Like this is at the end of like I discovered this at the end of the trip. I was only in there for one more day, and I sent a message and I was like, "Oh my god, like your pole space because it's beautiful, a beautiful pole studio." I was like, I would love to like pop in and just like film a combo quick or whatever, or take a class, like whatever, like just connect, like meet you, see your space, whatever. And the instructor, she's an absolute gem. She got because you know how we were just talking about how we don't have a lot of advanced people to train with here. So like, you know, whatever to circle it back to that because I go on these rants, guys, but guess what? I always bring it back to what we're talking about. I always circle it back. She expressed to me, she was like, she saw my Instagram and she like responded to me and she was like, "Oh my God, like I would love to train with you. There's no one advanced on this island that I can train with, yada 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 yada." And she's like, "How is like, you know, when can you train?" And I was like, "Well, I'm literally flying out tomorrow, but like I could like train in like 10 a.m. in the morning and my plane leaves at like noon, like you know what I mean, like whatever, like 9 a.m. whatever." And I was like, "Oh wait, that won't work because you have a class going on at that time." And she goes, "That won't be necessary. I just canceled my whole class tomorrow just so you and I could like train, like you and I could meet and like train together." And I was like, "You really didn't have to do that." I could have just come to class or like we could have just like done a 2-second combo after, whatever. But that was special because her and I just like hit it off and she was so sweet. She was like, "If you ever want to teach like a workshop in Santorini, if you ever like have an excuse to visit again." Meanwhile, I'm like, "Girl, this plane ticket cost more than like my Botox." You know what I mean? Like this is like a whole thing. Um, she was like, "You could always teach a class here." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." Um, and then the funniest thing happened. I'm in the middle. I just love the timing. I still have the video. I'm in the middle of a deadlift into like this shape I was doing. And I was having her film me. And I like finish the combo. I come out of it and I come back down, you know, upright. And she's like, "I can't even believe that just happened." And I was like, I mean, I didn't do anything that crazy. It was just a deadlift and do it. And she was like, "Oh, you didn't feel it?" And I was like, "Feel what?" And she was like, "There was just an earthquake." And I was like, "Of course there was when I was upside down." Like that is so on brand. I like come down and I'm like, I like wipe the sweat. I'm like, "Don't you like that combo?" She's like, "You didn't feel that." I'm like, "An earthquake? Like what the?" I completely missed that apparently. So then I was like, "Well, I guess it's time to get on my flight. I hope my plane successfully takes off this volcanic soil before the next event." But you know, it ended up being fine. I just thought that was so funny. She's like, you didn't feel that? And I was like, well, no, it's a burn when you do it. And she's like, no, the earthquake. And I'm like, no, I missed that. I was a little preoccupied.
That is too funny. That is crazy. Did you feel it as you were upside down?
Well, no, but would either of you, how would you feel that? We're in the air inverted. How would we feel that?
I don't even know.
Right.
Were you on spin or static?
I was on spin.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think we'd be able to feel that.
That's what I'm saying. I came down and I'm like, what are you talking about? What earthquake?
That is too funny.
I thought she was joking. I literally was like, I don't get it. And she was like, no, they're super rare. She was like, they're super rare. They rarely happen, but when they happen, like, ooh, that was a whatever. And I was like, okay, well, it's my time to leave now. So I'm just gonna like get the show on the road.
Oh,
You're like, on that note.
No, literally. I literally was like, well, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for whatever that was. Like, I don't even know.
It was an earth-shattering move.
If only. No, it wasn't though. It wasn't even anything crazy. It was just like a bow and arrow split. Like it wasn't like I was like, watch this like, double backflip pass. Like it wasn't even anything crazy. I just thought I would sprinkle that in my little Chronicles of Travel-y Polia skit,
Too funny. That just shows we need to always be recording because we never know what could happen next time you get a video that proves you were pole dancing during an earthquake.
Well, the thing is, I have the video, and if you guys saw it, like, you can't hear anything, you can't see anything, like, you never would know.
That's
So
nuts.
it looks completely normal. Like, if I just showed you, you'd be like, oh, that's a nice space. Like, nothing broke, nothing fell. Like, I don't
That's
know. It's
nuts.
interesting.
Thank God you're okay though.
I'm kind of pissed the pole didn't fall while I was on it. I was like, that would have just been like, no, well, only because she was filming. I just feel like, well, because the thing is, I'm someone who can laugh at themselves. Like, I feel like if you can't laugh at yourself, like you're taking life too seriously. I would have loved to have that on film. Like, I'm like, watch this. I'm like in the middle of a pass and like an earthquake happens and I eat shit. Like, I would have loved that. That's great.
Funny.
Great content.
A reason to stay in Greece.
Yeah, let me go back. Let me go during like, earthquake season or whatever, like if that's even a thing.
I love it. Do you have any more? Do you have any plans in the future for more traveling and pole dancing and teaching workshops?
I do. I'm going to be going to Amsterdam in July.
That's exciting.
To train and meet with my friend Bethany Finley.
Oh my, look at you, get it.
So yes, that'll be very fun.
That is exciting. I can't wait to see the videos and I can't wait to see the workshops you're gonna teach.
Yeah, her and I are just like weirdly similar. It's like everything, like the way I talk, like my joke, my humor, like she's very up my alley, like very, very, very similar. I'm like talking with her like after class, which happened so like organically, and she's like telling me about this like pet she bought that she like lost the next day, and she's like, well, whatever, I'm sure when I get back home it'll turn up. And I'm just like, why is that so like a story I would like, that's so something that would happen to me? I'd be like, I don't know, I'm sure it's around here somewhere, like we'll just see when I get back. Like it was her carefree attitude I fell in love with because I'm very carefree. I feel like so many people who sign up for my class for the first time or meet me in person, like a lot of people think that I'm intimidating, but I just laugh. I mean, what else can you do but cackle? I just laugh so hard because I'm like, I'm just so not like that. I'm so like, can't we all just like get along and like laugh? Like I'm very like come one, come all to the circus, whatever. I don't get it when I hear that from people that I seem like intimidating or whatever. I don't see it because I'm just so goofy. Like you can ask my students, like I'll come in and I'll be like, good morning, guys. Like I like paid for my Starbucks and they took too long to like give me my coffee. So I like, you know, I missed it. Well, like, I don't know, like I don't take myself seriously. Like I'm very, I just put it all out there, you know, and some people love that and some people don't, but you know, it is what it is. But Bethany's very much like that. She just like throws it all out there and is like, you know, take it or leave it. And her and I just got along really well.
That's exciting. I love it. Making connections in the pole industry. I can't wait
Yes,
to
it
see
is
what y'all
exciting.
create.
Right. I remember when we took the workshops with Matthew and I saw you, I was like, oh my God. And I was like,
I
hi.
am I am
I don't know if
dying to
you
take
remember,
one
but
of
I
his
fangirled you.
workshops. I
No,
am dying to take one of his workshops.
I listen, here's what made me laugh about that, Mandy. I do remember that, and I don't know if you remember my reaction. My reaction was very much like literally stop. Like like not like when I say stop, I mean like I don't get like you know what I mean? Like I'm a girl's girl. Like I'm very much like I remember you doing his combo and I was like, I don't even know, like I'm fangirling over her. I was like, you're doing great. Like you look amazing. Like I was fangirling. Like I don't, you know, I'm just super, I don't know. Like I'm a girl's girl. I'm there to just have fun. I know there's a lot of egos out there with pole. I think we've all been, you know, subjected to one or two of those, and I just have no patience for that. I'm like, bitch, you're not the first person to Rainbow Marchenko. You're not the first person to spatchcock. You're not the first person to deadlift, but you are the first person to get on my nerves this month. You know what I mean? Like it's just these, you know, there's no room for that. For me, like pole is a space for everyone. The only controversial topic that I bring to the table is what I already said earlier, which is like I just don't think people who can't invert should teach inverts. I mean that's my only that's like my one, you know, everyone comes with like a scandalous opinion. That's my one opinion that I stick with because I don't understand it. You know, I think you should teach according to your capability. I mean, it's also like a safety hazard, y'all. Like, you know, if you can't even like lift yourself on the pole, if someone falls, you're definitely not gonna be able to catch them. You know, like, you know, I think anyone who disagrees with that is, well, first of all, no one, no one who can invert would disagree with that. That's kind of the whole point. Like, I think anyone who would disagree with that would just be a little, not understanding safety precautions. Like it's about safety. For me, it's about safety. Like if you can pick yourself up, you can catch someone who's slipping. Like, you know, that's why we're CPR certified, y'all. We're supposed to be like ready for situations like this. We're not supposed to be like, I'm CPR certified so I can CPR myself. You know what I mean? Like, but no, I do. Matthew's workshop was wonderful. He's wonderful. I love him. He. You know, I used to teach at Boston Pole Fitness before COVID, and he used to teach workshops there. He still does, but like you know, he taught like a God. It was so many years ago. He taught like a monthly or like an every like some sort of routinely workshop there, and I just remember always being like, oh, I just. If only I had hair that long, I would be whipping it left and right as well. I get so jealous, Chris, of all these girls with their long hair. I get so jealous. I'm like, I can't whip my hair like Willow. You know what I mean? Like I can't, you know, I want to have that moment, but you know, I can't.
I understand. That's why I put on wigs sometimes. It's not the same,
Yes.
but it still works.
It's the works. Yes. Like, you know, when I was like 19, I started to grow my hair out to try to grow it like long. And you know, anyone, when you try to grow your hair out that long, you have to survive the awkward in between mullet phase. And it was in the middle phase. And I just remember looking in the mirror and just being like, no, just no, it's not working. So I chopped it. I was like, I can't make it. I can't make it past that.
You could have gotten extensions.
Yeah, but like at the time I didn't have this Botox budget, so that wasn't in the budget, you know? It all circles back to resources and what you have to offer at the time. Extensions wasn't in the cards for me at the time. We'll just say that.
I understand extensions are expensive.
What about you two? What are both of your favorite pole moves? Quick. I know you're supposed to interview me, but I was
never
just
asked
curious.
us
I was like,
this.
I kind of want to hear yours.
I mean, I always go to a jade. That's like
Yes, and you kill it.
all forms of jade.
But like, I was about to say, but which kind of jade is your go-to though?
At the classic,
The
yeah,
classic,
serving
yeah.
your ass on a platter, that's my favorite. Yeah.
Yes, yes, queen, yes.
I love it. She be killing the jade. Goodness, I love the fungi. I've been working on all sorts of variations. Am I successfully getting them? Not all the time. I would say that that's my favorite thing. I guess the favorite thing that I can do is probably brass monkey to flag hold, and then I've been working on getting back up, and I'm just so proud of myself that I can fucking do that.
Yeah. Anything flaggy and deadlifty is, I mean, it's some hard shit. That's really hard. Yeah. Fongies are one of those things where it's like, I can do them, but I definitely don't love them. I do them because they work well in combos, but the entire time I'm doing them, I'm like, I hate this. I like don't like when I'm doing Fongies, I'm not like, isn't this fun? I'm like, I hate this. I just absolutely hate it. I think my favorite move that's like same difficulty level ish, but like more enjoyable is I do love a good flick flack, a good Aisha flip. That's I think that's my favorite static trick. Yeah. Because I remember being literally in lockdown and COVID in my mom's fucking, living room next to her Bible and her freaking, piano. And I had my pull up. And I'm in a small space, y'all. Like it's tiny. Like there's no room. Like, girl, there wasn't even room for a jade. I couldn't even do a jade, like my legs, whatever. And somehow I have it in my vault. I can send it to you guys after so you guys can laugh. But somehow I looked and I was like, if I angle the flick flack flip this way, I'll be just missing the piano to my right, but missing the fireplace to my left. And I'm talking like it was one of those situations where if I missed, something was gonna break and it could have been me. It was very not safe. Like no one do this at home. Don't do this at home. I literally was like, if I angle here, I think my body should clear all of the objects. And I just like full sent it. And nothing, like not a single thing was knocked over, nothing happened. I like landed it, and you can see in the video, you can see like the video's going, and I like make a face like I land it, and my face, I like find the camera, and I'm like, did that just happen? Like, I make a face like, did I just like do that? Because listen, it was lockdown, I was bored, I wanted to unlock a trick, and if that involved me almost breaking myself or the house, I was gonna do it, and luckily neither happened. So.
But I have to see that. I'm having a blank of what that flick flack is. I feel like I know what that Aisha flip is, but I want to make sure.
Yeah, you just grab the pole and then do a back handspring, essentially. That's what it is.
Good for you, and you didn't hit anything. That's awesome.
It literally, like, I woke up that morning a atheist, and I went to bed that night a practicing. I was like, let me just play Miracles Happen from Princess Diaries on repeat, because that was like a moment,
You're like, it's COVID. What do I have to lose?
No, literally. No, that's the mentality I had. I was like, it's COVID. Like, what else? What else is new? What else nothing could be worse. Nothing could be worse. I'm like, I have to go to the hospital. Oh, perfect. No more social distancing. Maybe I'll find a hot doctor. You know what I mean? Like, perfect.
That is too funny.
No, no, I mean, it was, those times, y'all. It was,
Right, I would have found a way to do my jade. I would have done like a jade with a leg out the window.
No, literally, I should have done that. See, Mandy, we should have collabed back then. Like I could have put the window up and I would have done the same thing. I would have aimed. I would have been like a half of a chopper. My leg could reach the window. Like I would have had to aim. Like, yeah. Spatial awareness is definitely something I'm selectively good at. Great at it when it comes to pole, bad at it when it comes to mosh pitting. I'm not good at it when it comes to that. I'm like, I fight my way to the center, and I think it's every man for himself at that point, So
Speaking of mosh pitting, do you do anything fun in your spare time?
absolutely. It's funny because I did just turn 27. When I started pole, I was only 22, and I was still on that club as many nights of the week that I can train. And then COVID happened. I did when the restraints when lockdown was lifted, I definitely did hit my I almost felt like I think everyone for a second when the lockdown was lifted felt like they were 21 again for like a glimpse. Because it's like, oh, look, people who never went out were like, I want to go out. I did have like another club era. And then I would say in the past 2 years, do I still go to the clubs every year? Yes, but it's not common. It's like a once every 6 months sort of situation. So that changed. But what I enjoy most in my free time is going to the beach, which of course is really limiting for us New Englanders during winter time. It can be a little, not season for that, a little nippy. But no, the beach is my favorite place to go when it's beach season. I'm either at the studio, at the gym, or at the beach. There's no in between. The beach is my favorite. I love a good tan. I love volleyball. I love playing music. I love just listening to the waves. I really, really, really loved shooting that music video I got to shoot on the beach last year in Myrtle Beach, because the beach has always been my favorite. I feel like the most, and I'm so not a spiritual person, but I feel my most tranquil by the ocean. So being able to do a pole project on the beach was really if I was spiritual, that was my spirit hand moment, at church. That was my feeling the gospel. I was it's my favorite thing and my favorite place. And it was really special for sure.
I hope you bird
So that's what I like to do in my free time.
Did you do a
I
bird of
love
paradise
it.
in
So
that
you've been
music
in
video?
multiple music videos. Those must have been incredible experiences.
They were incredible experiences. And yes, Mandy, of course I did Bird of Paradise in the video.
Too funny.
And the angels
Of course.
sang.
Yeah. and all Jesus people said, Amen. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Medea was quaking. Medea entered the chat for sure during that video.
I love it. Do you have any pole philosophies to share or any advice for pole dancers, beginner, advanced, anyone?
Well, I feel like I don't have any advice for advanced, because I feel like if you're advanced, when you're advanced, you have to have a certain understanding and a certain pain tolerance that that getting to where you're at takes getting to that point requires not having, you can't complain. Complaining is not an option. I don't know how else to say it. That what, I don't have any advice, I think, for advanced people, because anyone who's advanced knows that you can't complain, and you don't get to the advanced point you're at with complaining. You get there with severe discipline, severe patience, severe trials and tribulations, all the things. And when you get to that point, you know what you have to do to maintain that, because that's how hard you have to work to get there. So do I have any advice for fellow advanced people? No. I think if you're advanced, I think you know exactly what you're doing. I think, you know, you know the do's and don'ts, like, and you know what to do to get you to have your body running and to achieve anything. So do I have advice for beginners? Absolutely. And it's simple. It's simple. Like, I'm not going to go on a whole, you know, diatribe on what it is. I think it's really simple. It's just, um, it's kind of like a 1 and a 1A. Number one, don't complain. Don't complain. For real. I know it sounds bitchy, but it's true. Let me tell you something right now. Anyone who I've ever seen who has complained has never become advanced. It's a mindset. Don't complain, and like, put the work in. It's that simple. And again, that's why I think it's kind of like a 1 and a 1A, because I think that people who complain don't put the work in. So for me, that comes with it. I think people, you know, you can be a person, like, we're not robots, guys. You can be like, ow, that hurt, or like, wow, I'm sore. That's one thing. But you know, but I just don't have any patience for people who complain. And if they do complain, I just say to them, like, you know, do you really want to pursue pole? And when I say pursue, I don't mean like, we're not trying to do like, what is this, Dancing with the Stars? I mean, like, do you want to like progress? Do you want to progress? And they'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, then complaining is not really something you get to do. It's a mentality thing. And again, I think that anyone listening to this who also is a dancer, who grew up in the dance world, you don't get to complain. When you complain, your teacher says, do 10 more pirouettes on your bad side, you know, do 10 more push-ups. Like, you don't get to complain. And that's the biggest piece of advice. You know, not naming names, my best student I have right now is as good. She's progressing fast, and she's doing as well as she's doing because she doesn't complain. She doesn't complain. Listen, you can complain to your spouse, your partner, your mom, your aunt, your friend, your dog, whatever. When you get home, you can, like, you know, you have to express yourself. Like, you know, I've gotten home from trainings when my mom has been like checking in with me right before a competition, and she's been like, you know, how was your training? And I've been like, bad, like, it sucked, like, you know, whatever. Like, you can complain, but like, you guys know what I'm saying, though. It's not that I'm saying people should be emotionless. It's that if you want to get good at anything in life, this isn't just about pole. It's just extra applicable to pole because pole happens to be more difficult than other things. There is no room for that. There's no room for that. You have to put the effing work in to get the result you want. And these people who just like complain, and they're like, you know, why can't I, you know, I always laugh. I'm sure you guys run into this all the time when you get those people that are like, why can't I do this crazy, like, they list a crazy move. Why can't I do this move? Why can't I do this move? And I'm like, why don't we like work on like your climb first? And then we'll like worry about, you know, let's worry about A before we bitch about Z. So it, you know, it sounds whatever, but it's true. I think for me, I thrive when there's a challenge, and I get that not everyone's like that. Challenges can be off-putting to a lot of people, but for me, my entire life's been a challenge. So when something's a challenge, I'm like, perfect. Like, I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna kill it. You know, I may die trying, but like, for me, I think that there's, and this is why I don't have any advice for advanced polars, because the advanced polars understand everything I'm saying. They understand that you have to have that attitude of like, you know, acknowledge the bruises, but like breathe through the pain and like proceed and grow, and, you know, take those training wheels off. And when you take the training wheels off of the bike, you're going to fall a couple times, you know, but it's all about, are you going to keep going? Or are you going to keep going and complaining that the training wheels fell off? because the people who are complaining about the fact that they fell off, they're not going to progress as fast as the other people. So I think it's all up here. I think it's all up here. I think it's a mentality. I don't think that there's a cure. I don't think there's there's nothing there's something we can say to our students, like, you have to do this specific diet, or like you have to do this many push-ups or this many sit-ups. Like, not, at the end of the day, like, that stuff can be helpful, but like, that's not what gets you success. It's all mental. It's all mental. So as long as you're feeling inspired and dedicated towards pole, you will progress.
Thank you for sharing that, because I am a big whiny baby. I'll do the thing, but I will complain. And it has hindered my progression a lot because I'm a
She's
whiny.
calling herself out.
But then she kills it when she does it.
Right, I constantly surprise myself when I do accept the challenge. So thank you for sharing that advice.
No, but the thing is, I love people like Mandy though, because it's always so frustrating to me, like in a funny way, like in a comedic way, when you have that like girl or guy that's like, oh my God, like me, I could like never, like I'm so scared, and then they like knock it out of the park, and I'm like, oh my God, could you just like not? Could you just I've seen those girls that are like, oh my God, like I could never, and then they like murder it, and I'm like, ah. Like, yes, absolutely. Like, snaps, everybody, snaps. Like, give them, I think that's, I think it's hilarious when I see that. I had this one student who she'll do the same thing. She'll be like, oh, I don't know. And then she like does it flawlessly. And I'm like, it's like, as long as you're, where do you think the expression comes from? Like, your actions speak louder than your words. As long as you're putting the work in physically, who cares what you say,
Right, it really is a compliment.
I mean, she's still there, right, Mandy? Like, you're still there, showing up, doing it. Like, as long as you're showing up, like, that speaks for itself.
Right, you see me even in Chris's class. Whenever he's like, "Let's do this," and I'm like, "Ah!" But then I do it.
But then you kill it.
Right, I constantly surprise myself, but that's why I say like it is a confidence thing, where I think pole dance does help us boost our confidence, because I was much less willing to do things before pole dance, for sure. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. I'm loving all these questions. Like, I have my little list here on my phone. I have like the questions. I'm like going through them. I love it. That's why we're here. I love connecting.
Yes. I think we've gone through all of the questions.
And then some too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all of it, being honest and sharing.
Absolutely. I love the pole community so much. And I think the last thing I'll say to anyone who's listening to the podcast that I feel like is a really like helpful thing to kind of go over is, I grew up in a very non-supportive, I didn't really have that support system that a lot of people out there have. I grew up in a very dysfunctional environment and did not have, really anyone rooting for me in any way, shape, or form. And something I love about the pole community is we're all here rooting for each other, and we're all here. I think I made this joke earlier. It's like the island of misfit toys. Like, it's like we're all just here doing this sport and this craft that is not widely understood slash accepted by a lot of people. And I think that there's something beautiful about that. I think that some of the sweetest people, some of the best memories I've ever had in my life, and the people I've encountered are because I'm in this field. And it's, to kind of pull that together to this podcast and that's why this podcast is happening, and that's why we're connected, and that's why anyone who has had a dysfunctional background, who is seeking a support system or just a safe space. Like, it's not even about like, oh, like a system of people to dial. Like, I'm not even going that deep into it. It's just like, just a space, just to be around and to be understood. It's a really special thing. And I love, meeting new people and taking workshops with people and, talking about all these things, because this is what our life is about. And I was really excited about this interview tonight. And it made what a great way to start a Monday. Motivation Monday, y'all. Great Monday. And yeah, and for that, thank you for having me. And I love that you guys do this because it's just another outlet that brings the community together. And I think that's a really special thing. And I think that the community could use more people like the two of you out there.
You're too sweet. Thank you. I truly appreciate that. You are all the reason why we do this.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. And I want to take a selfie. OMG.
Perfect.
Okay, my big ass head. And then we don't and then I have to just take,
Thank God my Botox just happened because that was needed in that shot.
You and that Botox, I am done.
I know this episode. Where's my esthetician? This episode should have been sponsored with Botox today. You know.
Well, we do have sponsorships of it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, perfect. Send me the link.
Too funny.
I love it. My like Botox lady is gonna be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Hey, promoting pole dancing and Botox.
Right? I mean, I would tune into that, right?
That would be a good, actually, like a whole separate episode. Like,
dude, that's what I'm saying. I think we should do another episode that's Botox and pole question mark. Yes or no? It's a big yes for me. I do like a whole separate take on how I'm like, you know what? I think people are way too focused on how flawless someone's lines are in a shape in terms of splits. I think they should be paying attention more to the lines that are on their forehead when you zoom in the photo past the splits. Those are the lines you see, and those are imperfect, and those need to be worked on. That's my big, like, that's my twist. I'm like, give me the most perfect eagle ever. It's like, no, that line is not perfect. It could use some Botox, you know. That could be a great. I like this. I think we're onto something, Cris. This could be a whole separate segment.
It could, like a whole episode. Maybe we can even have various pole dancers chime in on their experience with the Botox.
On their Botox experience. Dude, I love it. Like, we're looking for someone who does pole who's also had Botox. Like, I love it.
I mean, like you said.
And how did that affect your confidence?
It's like you said, conversations that need to be had that no one wants to talk about, that society teaches us not to talk about.
Right?
Absolutely. Well, I'll be the first in line for that.
I wrote it down here. I was like, pole dance and Botox, future episode, but how much into the future?
Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Silly.
It is silly, but you know, I'm very silly. You know, life is way too short to be taken so seriously.
Yes.
It is.
I agree.
It is.
Well, stay tuned for that.
But again, thank you for having me, you guys.
Yes, our pleasure. Is there anything that you'd like to promote upcoming this year? Any workshops? I know you mentioned
There
that you're
is
going
something
to
I would like to promote. I think that if you just Google Botox near you, you can find an available appointment at your earliest convenience, and it could be great for promotional purposes.
You're too funny. Do you get a commitment? If not, anything to promote to make you money?
Yeah. Guys, I get no royalties off of this, and I'm like, sign up. Like, I'm just an avid, you know, fan. No, I don't have really anything to promote other than if anyone is ever in the North Shore, Boston area who is interested in taking classes, I do teach at North Shore Pole Fitness, and you can always take a class from me. Meanwhile, anyone who's tuning into this is like, no, I don't want to go to the Botox guy. But you know what? Listen, your lines will look amazing, the ones I can control, okay? So those will look great. Anything else is extracurricular. But no, that's it.
I love it. Thank you so much. I'm excited for everything to come for you. Did we ask the question, where do you hope to see yourself in 5 or 10 years with pole dance?
No, you didn't ask that, and I do have an answer. My dream, my whole life, you know, and this kind of circles back to how much I love Jennifer Lopez and how she was my dance idol. My dream has been to be, even if it's for like a glimpse of a moment, like featured in like a mainstream A-list music video. Um, that would be like the ultimate dream. That's like my ultimate goal. My first goal was like get Bird of Paradise. My next goal was like be featured in a video. That would be amazing. If that ever happened, I would just, you know, I would die happy
I love it.
or happier.
Right? And then you'll have to make another
Something.
goal. I feel like you're gonna make that goal. 100%.
Yes. I mean, it's
let's all
happening.
manifest it.
Yes.
We're just gonna manifest it. We'll see what
Yeah.
Yes,
happens.
let's
Snaps.
cancel.
Not the snaps. Oh my god, I love it.
Yes, we're gonna all light some candles tonight.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, thank you, Andrew. This was so much fun.
Yes,
This really was fun. So sorry about the weird technical error we had in the beginning. I don't know what that was about, but
That's fine.
that's okay. We'll edit that out.
Yes.
wait, I think we'll have to edit several things out. Mandy's over here like the moment we hang out, she's like, so Cris, we have to like edit like 90% of that interview
Not at
out.
all.
I might make a funny
Not at
video of
all.
all the Andrews that appeared on the screen, though. That might be funny.
That is awesome.
That could be its own separate TikTok. You're like, how many Andrews does it take to get a Botox commercial?
Y'all are too funny.
How many Andrews does it take with clear foreheads to create no wrinkles? Like 5?
That is too funny.
I love it. See, like I can't. See, this is the real me, y'all. Like I'm so goofy. If you saw me and Bethany Finley in Thailand together, we were fucking stupid. Like we were so like her and I literally like did this photo shoot in the rainforest, right? And the sun was like it was like 90 degrees and humid and like forget how about PD exist? We literally couldn't do anything. Like the most we could do was like a flag and like, you know, whatever. And she was like, God, it's so fucking hot in here. And I was like, yeah. And we look at the time and, you know, she had a class that she was teaching that day that I was signed up for, like that was happening now. So we like looked at the clock and we were like, oh shit, like I'm supposed to be in your class that you're teaching literally this very moment. It's a whole thing of why this happened. Like we weren't just like irresponsibly late. It was a whole backstory. Moral of the story is we like sprinted like literally up this mountain. We're like literally sweating. Like I'm sweating my balls off. And like we're literally like running to the workshop and we're panting, we're like dying. And we like get to the resort where the you know, workshops were held. And as we're like literally like we're like literally we're about to have heat stroke, y'all. Like we were not okay. As we're like running to the workshop, there were these resort workers who like work there, who like know us because this is like day 5 of whatever. They like see us like panting and they're like, oh, would you guys like some water? But they're like in front of us, like they're in front of us, and we're like, oh my god, yes, like we need water. Like now we literally were dying. Like I literally felt like I was going to pass away. And we think that they're going to give us like bottled water or like a cup of water. And they're holding these trays and they go, perfect. And they like shove these literally ginormous coconuts, that's coconut water, like into our hands, but they look like cocktails. So we're like, what is this? And they're like, no, coconut water. And we're like, whatever, we don't have time. So we're running with these coconuts. And then like, I tried to say like, cause in Thai, it's like, thank you is like cup kunka. And I like said it all wrong. Cause I was like running and I was like flabbergasted. I was like, and I like said it wrong. And Bethany just started dying laughing. And she's like, what was that? And I was like, listen. And then we turn the corner and there's this camp filled of all the students waiting for her who's late. And then they see me and her holding these huge coconut drinks that they obviously think are alcoholic. And it's literally coconut water. And me and Bethany were like, oh no, like we just got canceled for no reason. Like everyone's just like, we don't like them. So the class starts and it was like, you literally could hear like a pin drop. Like it was so like, people were just not having it. And then after the class ends, me and Bethany are like cackling and we're like, here's the irony. They all think we had a drink, but after that class and that photo shoot, we need a drink after that. Like that was totally, like that was not even, and it just, that was like, it just became our bit for the rest of the trip is like, no matter what we were drinking, like water, bottles, anything, we were like, people definitely think this is alcohol. That's just the narrative now. Like people just think that me and her, and we both have like really loud, obnoxious laughs. And the last night of the camp, everyone, was in bed. It was like 3 a.m. And her and I were like, just sitting on like the resort patio. And we were just talking like, again, nothing's crazy. Like people just, I think when you have a huge personality like me and a huge personality like her, I think people just, you're just like an easy target. Like people just assume the worst. They think whatever. And I'm like, guys, we don't need any additives to our, personality. Like we just are this way. Like we don't need any uppers. And her and I were just like laughing all night. But like apparently the next morning we're all like flying out. And everyone's like, they're like, we couldn't get any sleep last night because we could hear Bethany and Andrew laughing and it was echoing throughout the resort and we could just hear them laughing all night. And like, we didn't realize that everyone could hear us. And we were like, I just love how everyone hates us on this trip. Like everyone just hated me and Bethany. They were not fans of us. So yeah, that's my little camp story. And when me and Bethany trained together in Amsterdam, she was like, we're just gonna post on our story that we're together. We're not even gonna post anything. It's just like a selfie. And she's like, and people are gonna be pissed. They're gonna be just mad. I don't know why. Just me and her together is like a very reactive combination. It's like, I don't know. It's just, don't do either of you have like that one friend you're friends with that like when you guys are together, it's just like an explosion?
Yeah, I constantly have to be separated from people.
Yeah. Yeah. You got me. Yeah.
I definitely get you, but I'm a very different type. Even when I'm with that friend, I'm like, nah, bitch, you need to quiet that.
Oh, that was not us. We were like scream laughing at like 3 a.m. Like scream laughing. But like to us though, it was just us being us and everyone else was like, did you guys hear them laughing all night? And we were like, well, I just didn't realize it was gonna make the news, but like,
At least you're not canceled.
I'm always canceled, honey. I'm always canceled for one reason or another.
Too funny.
Well,
But yeah,
to any of the
yeah, but on that note,
they'll know that it was coconut water.
yeah. To anyone listening, that was coconut water, okay? We had just come back from a photo shoot. Like that was not, no.
Too funny.
Like it's on that note.
Okay, I'll let you guys go now.
Right, thank you everyone for listening.
On that
for
note,
watching
thank you again.
Yes.
our
Thank you so much for being
podcast.
here with us. Oh, Mændy is closing it out. Okay.
I'm in closeout mode now.
Close out.
My name is Mændy Mac. I hope I don't fall.
My name is Fear.
Yeah.
Too funny.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for being with us today.
My name is Fear.